What is up, people? In this video, I want to talk about the engine oil maintenance intervals that are recommended by Honda for these CRF250 and 300L bikes. Now, obviously this information you can kind of change between model years, whether it's a 250, 300, or a standard L or rally model. This particular bike is a 2019 CRF250LK. So let's go ahead and take a look at the manual and get some context for what we're talking about here. Here's the maintenance schedule in the owner's manual. And what it calls for is at the first 600 miles, it wants you to change your engine oil and your engine oil filter. And then it wants you to change the engine oil after that every 8,000 miles and the engine oil filter every 16,000 miles. Now that can change if your conditions are more severe, and they do obviously denote that, like most owner's manuals for most vehicles. If it's dry, dusty, particularly wet, snowy conditions, things that add additional strain to an engine, you will want to change it a little bit sooner. But let's just go ahead and keep the 8,000 mile intervals in mind, and let's take a closer look at the bike. This bike has a total of 18,483 miles on it. And at the last oil change, I reset this trip B meter. And since that oil change and oil filter change, it is at 2,620.8 miles. So let's go ahead and see what the engine oil looks like with that many miles on it. You can already see at a quick glance through the sight glass on the metal inside of the case in there that there's some residual oil. It looks pretty golden, quite golden for nearly 3,000 miles. So let me go ahead and tip this bike up and let's get some oil flood in there and look at the color of it. So that oil is pretty golden. I mean, you can see there's a little bit of a brown tinge to it, but for 2,600 miles, that looks pretty good. So I think just with that in mind, the way things are going, as far as the way that I'm using the bike, it's pretty well on track to get that 8,000 mile interval. So, you know, that's kind of the reason I did this video, because I had some time today and I was thinking, yeah, maybe I'll just come out here and change this oil sooner than the interval. You know, I got some time, it doesn't cost that much, not that much effort. But I came out and I looked at it and I said, you know what? This oil looks great. So why don't I go ahead and provide some insight to other people that are considering these 250 and 300 models and see that we can put some confidence into that interval, and I think that we can. You know, my primary use case for this bike, I do mostly commuting to work with it, but I do take it out and ride it recreationally, both on and off road. And you know, that was a big reason that I considered these bikes, because I looked at other comparable models in that displacement range, you know, the Yamahas, Kawasaki's, and you know, I looked at all kinds of bikes, and I ultimately chose the 250L. And you know, I would exchange this with the 300 equally, because of the reputation for the reliability of the just overall bike, and because of that engine oil change interval. I just thought that was a particularly odd feature that this bike has over the other models, and I think over the course of owning it a long time, that's pretty significant. That one, it just reduces the amount of work you need to do in the short term, and you know, it also keeps your costs down a little bit. So anyways, I just thought that might be a cool video for you guys to see. Maybe I'll do a follow-up later around 4,000 or 6,000 miles, and we'll see how that oil looks. Thanks for watching.